In 2020 and 2021, we spent a lot of our time in my personal favorite place, in our own homes. For some people I know it wasn't great, but for anime and video game nerds like myself, it wasn't that bad. We exchanged time that we might use to go to concerts or movie theaters or out to eat for time inside, and we spent that time playing a lot of video games and watching a lot of anime. You ever have those anime series that you feel like you're never gonna pick up? Like you're never gonna watch them. You hear about them all the time, but you just know that you either don't have the time for them or the interest. 2020 and 2021 changed that for me, and there were anime that I never thought I would watch that I ended up watching. The first show I'm going to talk about is not going to be unique to me at all. I feel like a lot of people gave this show a chance in the last 2 years, and that is Hunter x Hunter. I had friends beg me to start Hunter x Hunter, and I've known about Hunter x Hunter for years. I remember when the 2011 anime came out, it was super popular during that time, you know, surrounding the announcement, surrounding the excitement to that anime. I had friends who were cosplaying it in my friend groups at conventions, but I just never saw myself getting into it. You know, back in 2011, I was a lot more like, oh, I don't like the art style of this, I can't really see myself getting into it. I have a much more open mind now, thank goodness, because there's so many series that are wonderful, even though I don't really prefer the art style of it that much. And now looking back, Hunter x Hunter, I really do like its style a lot. Like in the manga and in the 2011 anime. And I'm specifically talking about the 2011 anime, by the way. I've never seen the I think it's the 1999 release. Back in 2020, when everything first started falling apart, this was the show that I picked up first. It was just easy to get on Netflix. I downloaded the entire first season on my phone. This was while I was moving too, so I didn't have internet at my house for like a couple weeks. If you know anything about moving in Japan, it takes forever to get internet set up here. So when I did have internet, I would download those episodes onto my phone so that I could watch them. And it's not even because that's the only thing I had to watch because I had to download it. It's literally that I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the show. I'll get into this a little bit more later, but me and shonen have a very strange relationship. I have such a love-hate relationship with a lot of shonen, and so I'm very hesitant to get into shonen, but I'm really glad I got into Hunter x Hunter. Admittedly, I have only seen about the first 30 episodes of it, so a little bit into the second season of the 2011 version of the anime. Just so many likable characters, which really drives me personally to watch an anime if the characters are likable, and fortunately I love all of the main characters. The only thing about this that I am just about is that the original source material is not finished and there's no guarantee that it will continue, I think. Togashi, the mangaka for the series, has had a lot of health problems, and unfortunately that has put Hunter x Hunter on a pause for so long. And it's the same thing with Nana. Like with Nana, I don't know if I ever want to start the manga because it's not guaranteed that it will ever finish. And I know that might be a shallow way of thinking, but I can't take when things aren't finished. If I am left on a cliffhanger, it will bother me so much. All I can hope for is that Hunter x Hunter will finish and get the ending that it deserves, because it really is a great show and I would love to invest more time into it. The next show. Okay, do you guys remember when everyone was doing their anime bingo charts and they're like, see if you can get a bingo? Do you like these series? Have you seen these series? There was a series that kept popping up on everyone's bingo cards, and I was surprised to see it, and it was a show that I had never watched and I really never had that much interest watching, but it came up on everyone's bingo cards, and the show is MAWARU PENGVINDRUM. MAWARU PENGVINDRUM, I hope I'm saying that correctly. PENGVINDRUM, I don't know. What a strange show. I see what people like about it. It's kind of one of those, this show is kind of thought-provoking and brilliant, and it's the train wreck you can't stop. I think I binged this show in 2 days. It's like 26 episodes. I can't even remember like any characters that I liked or even any part of it that I liked. I think I did like how the story revolved around West Tokyo and like that one line that always runs through like Shinjuku, the Shibuya area and stuff like that, like west of Shibuya, which is cool. It's very Tokyo. It's very Tokyo. I think it's just one of those shows that no matter what, I was never going to ever be that into, given that it's not a happy-go-lucky moe, we're sitting at the lunch table at school talking about donuts kind of show. I don't know. I am glad I watched it because this was seriously on everyone's bingo card, and it was blocking me from so many bingos on people's cards. It was like the one series I hadn't seen on their cards. So I was like, I'm gonna give it a chance. I'm glad I did, because now I can just say with confidence, not my thing. I've seen it. It's brilliant in its own way. It's unique. It's definitely not like anything I'd watched before. I will give it that. I can see why people like it, but wasn't for me. It was entertaining. I watched the whole I binged the whole thing, so it kept me engaged. The next show on the list is a show that I'd always planned on watching, but I think the pandemic actually caused me to watch it way earlier than I was expecting. This show is Slayers. Now, this was like always on my list, right? I love its art style. I really needed to watch another show from the 90s. I absolutely love Lisa Ortiz as a voice actor too, so I knew that her being Lena Inverse would really engage me. I love her work as Amy Rose and all of the Pokemon stuff that she's done. I love Lisa Ortiz so much. So I knew that eventually I would get around to the show, but I didn't think I would do it so soon. And the show's on Funimation, so I was just like, okay, I'll you know, if I'm cleaning the house or do something, I'll throw on the dub and just, you know, watch it. And I binged this one fairly quickly. There are more seasons, like plenty of seasons, I think some movies maybe too, that I'm not immediately going to start or feel like I need to start them, but I don't know how to explain it. Slayers was so nostalgic to me, even though it wasn't something I really watched much as a kid. It just lives and breathes nostalgia. It gave me some good laughs. It was funny. At the end of the day with it, I'm just glad that I watched it because it is something that a lot of people hold dear. I think a lot of people hold it dear to them because of nostalgia, honestly, but it wasn't bad. I quite enjoyed it, and I think I liked it enough that I will continue the second and third season and other installments of it. There was also like the Slayers, I think the 30th anniversary or something like that recently. So there is tons of Slayer stuff like in Japan right now, like merch and stuff. So I'm really glad I got to watch it so that I can know some of the characters and know the story somewhat. To me, I think Lisa Ortiz as Lena Inverse carries the show. The next one on here is also one that I knew I would eventually get to, and this is a show that I probably have the weirdest relationship with, at least out of this list, and that is Steins Gate. So I've known about the Steins Gate anime at least since 2010 when it released. There's a lot of talk about it. I didn't really realize at that time, I was only a teenager, that it was based off a visual novel and all this stuff. Later, when the visual novel got its official Western release on the PS Vita, I picked it up and started playing it. Now, even before that, I had jumped into Steins Gate a little bit, like the anime, and I would watch like episode 1 or 2 or 3 here and there, and I kept dropping it every time and not staying engaged with it. I was watching the dub, by the way, which I don't think is terrible, but hold that thought, I'll get back to that later. I just kept picking it up and dropping it immediately. I think the furthest I got, I was watching it with a friend, and I think we got to like episode 12, like halfway through the series, in the dub, by the way, and I just stopped. Like, we just stopped watching it. I stopped every time. So eventually, when I picked up the visual novel on PS Vita, I played maybe 12 or 13 hours of it, and I absolutely loved it, and then I stopped. I just kept stopping with everything related to Steins Gate. And finally this year, maybe it's because I did the Steins Gate pilgrimage and stuff, that's something I really wanted to do, I finally was able to get through all, I think 26 episodes of the original Steins Gate anime. I still have to watch Steins Gate 0, and there's like some other OVAs and stuff that I want to watch, but yeah, geez, finally got through it. And I got through it this time watching it in Japanese. I'm no hater of dubs. Like, I do like dubs quite a bit. There are some exceptions, but for some reason, it's crazy. I could get through the Japanese version way better than the dub. I don't know why it took 2020 and 2021 to finally get through it. It's a great anime, probably at least in my top 50 easily. It just took me so long to get into it, but I'm glad I finally did. Steins Gate, absolute masterpiece. Maybe one day I'll finish the visual novel. This next one is kind of embarrassing, not gonna lie. When I was in middle school, I picked up this little manga called Girls Bravo. Probably should not have had it at school, but I did. And that was my first ecchi series I had ever gotten into. But I had only read the manga, and it wasn't until this year that or maybe at the end of last year, that I watched the Girls Bravo anime, and it is bad. It is bad. It is so bad. There's gotta be people who are into it for like nostalgia factor, like, oh, baby's first ecchi, like back in the mid-2000s. It's just not, it's not even that funny. It's so stupid. I mean, there are some great one-liners in the dub. I will give it that. There is a second season, and I really don't imagine myself even throwing it on unless I really need something to just be in the background while I do something else. I might just pick any other anime, honestly. I can't believe I watched like the 12 or 13 episodes, first 12 or 13 episodes of that first season, and what can I even say? It's Girls Bravo. If you've seen it, you know, it's ridiculous. The next show I want to talk about is probably my favorite show that I picked up during 2020 and 2021 because of staying at home, and that is Yu Yu Hakusho. I had seen Yu Yu Hakusho as a kid. It was on Cartoon Network. It would run mostly the Dark Tournament stuff. Like, that's the stuff I remember the most from when it was on Cartoon Network when I was a kid. And I had family members and like cousins who were super into it and had the Game Boy Advance game and stuff. So I'm familiar with it, but I had never really sat and watched like episode 1, like started from episode 1 and gone through it. And I had already seen season 1 of Hunter x Hunter by this time, and the creator of Hunter x Hunter and the creator of Yu Yu Hakusho are the same person. And I was like, well, Yu Yu Hakusho is finished. Like, the anime's finished and done, the manga's finished and done. This is something that I could get into. Be-do, okay. I hope the person in the ambulance is okay, I really do. I just knew that this was a series that was finished and I didn't have to worry about any cliffhangers. It was gonna be something that I could just sit and watch and not worry about if it's ever gonna finish. I had friends beg me to watch Yu Yu Hakusho, and I'm so glad I did, because it's another one of those shows, like something about Togashi's stuff, you just love all of the main characters. He is so good at making characters, and Yusuke, I love. Kuwabara, I had to learn to love, but I still love him too. Just fantastic character development and building, and this is where I'll kind of get into my relationship with shonen. You know, back when I was a kid, I was in on the big three. Like, I was reading Bleach, I was reading Naruto, I was super into them, but like, gosh, ever since like around 2013 or 2014 or so, it's been so hard for me to really focus in on shonen as a genre, and that's because like my favorite genre is the complete opposite of shonen. It's just like moe, slice of life, comedy anime with some romance that I love, and shonen does not do it for me like those other shows do. It's been really hard for me to continue on with stuff like My Hero Academia, Food Wars, and Attack on Titan. Like, I just haven't been able to focus on them at all. Plus, a lot of the shonen series are really long. My sweet spot is like, you know, 13 to 26 episodes, pretty good. I am still so glad that I picked up Yu Yu Hakusho. The animation is incredible, the art style is incredible, the characters are incredible, the story's incredible, everything, no complaints at all. I never thought I would watch through Yu Yu Hakusho. Last thing I want to talk about is something I recently started, and this is kind of random, but I decided to go through the Pokemon anime movies in order. So about a week ago, I started to watch the first Pokemon movie, and then I watched the second, third, fourth, probably tonight I'll watch the fifth one. But it's been really fun to go back and watch these old Pokemon movies in the dub, because that's nostalgic for me at least. And the movies, like, I think they're great. I think they're so entertaining and so funny, and I just love seeing the Pokemon anime. I've been on a huge Pokemon kick lately, so I was like, well, I'm just gonna pick up the movies too. It's really interesting to watch them in order and see the animation get better, and personally I think the stories are great. I know there's a lot of people who don't really like the writing in the Pokemon movies. I think it's great. You have to go into it knowing that it's for children. I'm really excited to get through the next one. I think I have to watch Pokemon Heroes next, which is the 5th one. And then we fully get into like the Hoenn region movies, which are really good. After the Hoenn region movies, there's very few of the Pokemon movies I've actually seen, so I guess I'll be spending more time at home watching those Pokemon movies. And there you have it. Those are the anime that 2020 and 2021's quarantine forced me to watch. And for most of them, I've been pretty happy. At least I can say that I've seen MAWARU, PENGVINDRUM. At least I can say I've seen Slayers. So glad I got into Yu Yu Hakusho. So glad I mean, not finishing Steins Gate. What kind of fan am I? I'm just like, I can't even be an anime fan if I haven't seen Steins Gate. I feel it's so popular. Girls Bravo, totally a mistake. Hunter x Hunter, pretty good. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, please let me know in the comments section if you would like more videos about me talking about anime. What anime have you guys been watching, since you guys probably, hopefully, been staying at home? What are some shows that you thought you've never watched, but being at home and being bored led you to watch? And hopefully I'll see you on my next adventure. Bye!